Year to all followers of One Man's Movies. It's time for my Films of the Year 2025. During the year, I've seen 213 new films. I actually had 67 films released in the UK that I rated as 4 stars and above. And to be honest, if I went back to some of my 3.5 score films, I might be tempted to put them in the top 20 as well. So how I came up with this list was that I assigned each film a rewatchability score out of 5, and I used that to factor my scores to try to get down to a list of not only really good films, but also films that I really would like to rewatch again. So with that process, that meant that some films, such as, for example, The Brutalist, which I rated 4.5 stars, didn't actually make my top 20 because I've seen it once, it was great, but I don't particularly want to see it again. With such a great year of films, there are some films which I agonised about leaving out of my list. In particular, it's been an extremely strong year for innovative horror films. So there's a whole bunch of horror films which I left out of my list, which I would have loved to put in there, including Sister Midnight, Bring Her Back, Companion, Hallow Road, and Together. All terrific films. I also left out of this list Ocean with David Attenborough, one of what I think is the most important films in terms of documentaries of the year, but it just didn't fit in my list, I'm afraid. So without further ado, here are my top 20 films of 2025.
I've been all over this world. I seen men die in ways I ain't even know was possible. Love you, brother. Be careful. I will.
At number 20, I've got Sinners. I suspect some people may be furious that this didn't get a higher position in my list, and perhaps if I'd found the time to see this film again, it would have done. Ryan Coogler's exciting take on a classic horror genre set in the Deep South and with a pulsating, throbbing jazz beat behind it. Really high quality cinema.
11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war.
At number 19, I've got Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later, a return to the zombie apocalypse, which had some very innovative moments and a bizarre change of tempo in the last 5 minutes, which set the UK internet completely ablaze.
خب الانم که قاضی تحقیقات شده این خطرها هست دیگه. گفتم شرایط زندگی ما عوض شده، باید خیلی مراقب باشیم.
اینو بهم دادن برای حفاظت شخصی.
برای چی؟
حفاظت از خودمون.
At number 18, I've got The Seed of the Sacred Fig, an Iranian film directed by Mohammad Rasoulouf, who, like fellow director Jafar Panahi, has put his life at risk in terms of making a film critical of the Iranian government. It's a tense thriller where the father is working with the Iranian government and putting him in direct conflict with his family, in particular his teenage children. A gripping watch that I'd love to see again.
Our lives are the sum of our choices. This was your calling, your destiny. I have no regrets. Neither should you.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
At number 17, I've got Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise ups the amps in terms of the stunts involved in this final outing, allegedly, for Ethan Hunt, ending with a quite superb aerial biplane stunt, which took my breath away. Yes, it's not high art, but it is extremely entertaining, and I could watch any of the Mission Impossible films at the drop of a hat, anytime, anywhere.
A storm carries the fury of the gods. It brings destruction and death. But a storm rewards the strong, the brave, and the bold. And I can tell you, with great certainty, a storm is coming.
And number 16 is a film which I suspect many of you will not have seen. It's a small Irish film called Swing Bout, set in the world of boxing. Why this is a bit intriguing is that although it's a film about boxing, you don't actually see any boxing in the film. All of the drama takes place in the dressing rooms behind the scenes. It's a very accomplished little film. It was made for a ridiculously low budget of just over £100,000, and it just shows what you can really do with that sort of money.
I was in high school when the Avengers came. Kind of strange that it's all over now. No one's coming to save the day.
I think we are. We can be the ones that are coming.
But you have the wrong people. We have all done bad things.
Look, I've been where you are. The past doesn't go away. So you can either live with it forever, or you can do something about it.
And number 15 is Marvel's Thunderbolts**. It's been a while since I've been able to recommend a Marvel movie to anybody, let alone include it in my top 20. But I really enjoyed this movie. As a follow-up to the abysmal Captain America: Brave New World, which features in another of my lists to follow, I had zero expectations of this film. But the film had an engaging story and it perfectly balanced the action and the comedy. It also featured a standout performance for me from Florence Pugh, who was just magnificent in ass-kicking mode. Also had Lewis Pullman as a superhero character called Bob, which appealed to me greatly.
We got a breach. What did you do?
One of our people stole something.
Something extremely valuable.
You cannot imagine the damage. Find the leak.
How long do you think you'll need? Give me 2 weeks.
Thousands of innocent people will die.
Okay, 1 week.
So at my number 14, we've got Black Bag. The prolific director Steven Soderbergh had 2 films out during the year. The first was the first-person ghost story Presence, which was okay, but nothing to write home about. And then there was this interesting spy thriller, which had an almost Harry Palmer-esque feel about it. It concerns Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett as a married couple of spies, where Cate Blanchett's character, Catherine, is suspected of being a double agent. It has a strong supporting cast, including Tom Burke, Regé-Jean Page, Naomi Harris and Pierce Brosnan, and at only 90 minutes it really packed in the action and the tension very nicely indeed.
Þegar ég kem heim annað kvöld þá var ég búinn að klára mín mál með Klöru og þetta verður ekkert mál.
Varstu búinn að heyra fréttirnar? Nei, hvað? Hvað er það? Er ekki allt góð?
And my number 13 is a film called When the Light Breaks. And like Swingbout that I talked about earlier, I suspect hardly any of you will have seen this little Icelandic film. When the Light Breaks is a bijou little 82-minute drama set in a wonderful looking Reykjavik and concerns the grief around a young teenage girl who is involved in an illicit love triangle. One of the reasons this made my list is because of the outstanding performance of the Icelandic actress Elin Hall, who is just magnificent in the film, together with some wonderful cinematography by a lady called Sophia Olsen.
This is a true story that happened in my town. So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school. But today was different. Every other class had all their kids. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. And you know why? Because the night before, at 2:17 in the morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came back.
At number 12, I have Weapons. As I've already mentioned, 2025 has been a really great year for horror, and Weapons, released in August, really resonated with me. The premise is brilliantly simple and brilliantly weird. A teacher, played by Julia Garner, turns up to school one morning to find only one of her 18 pupils sitting at the desk waiting for her. The other 17 have got up in the middle of the night at exactly 2:17 and run off into the darkness with their arms outstretched like jet fighters. Now, the film is all over the place, both in terms of its fragmented timeline and also tonally, veering from horror to complete farce towards the end and back again. But it all comes over as very novel and innovative, and with superb performances from Garner and Amy Madigan, it cements itself as one of the more memorable films of 2025.
هاي قصة عن القوة.
أنا اسمي باسل.
مسافر يطا هي المكان اللي كبرت فيه. بداية تصويري هي بداية نهايتنا. جرافات؟ أنا متعب بخير.
At my number 11, I have a documentary called No Other Land. The best documentaries need to either move you or make you angry, and this one managed to achieve both with me. The documentary follows a local Palestinian filmmaker, Basil Adra, and his visiting Israeli journalist friend, Yuval Abraham, as they document an attempt by the Israeli army in the West Bank to clear the community of Masafar Yatta to make way for a military training area. The film is absolutely devastating, and after further months of utter devastation and atrocities in Gaza, you really wonder what has happened to this particular community in the intervening months. It's not a happy watch, but it is an essential watch. That's No Other Land at my number 11.
Talk me through the day.
Starts with volleyball, then there's boxing.
Good. It's America versus Cuba.
Sure you want to bring in the politics?
It's not about politics. It's about emotions.
And we're clear. Great job, everyone.
Do you hear that?
Were those gunshots?
And my number 10 slot is September the 5th. Now, Steven Spielberg covered the same event shown here in his 2005 film Munich. But here we have a different perspective on the action by following an ABC TV crew who happen to have a front row seat for what's going on. These guys are not news people, they are sports people and are struggling with the concepts of what they can show and what they can't show. This got released in the UK in early February. It's a tight and claustrophobic little thriller with a great script, and it also managed to remind us of how basic broadcasting technology was just 50 years ago.
I'm Alma, by the way.
Tobias.
We're going to make sure you have the time of your life. Hi.
Hi. Probably ought to get going.
Who says? Unless you have shit to do, then...
I have nothing. Whether we like it or not, the clock is ticking.
What's the rush?
Because I'm worried that there's a very distinct and real possibility that I am about to fall in love with you.
At my number 9 slot, we whiz back to the very first film I saw in 2025, We Live in Time. It's a beautifully crafted romantic drama starring an immaculate Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. The couple had fantastic chemistry together, which made it really believable. It had a wonderful cute meet, spoiled by the trailer, but I'll ignore that. And the emerging cancer theme was handled really sensitively and beautifully. This was a film I absolutely loved, so much so I went to see it twice in the cinema, which is pretty rare for me these days.
For over 20 years, Hart and his partner Richard Rodgers created a string of hits.
I want 10 copies of that.
Write me a check. Such as My Funny Valentine, The Lady is a Tramp, and Blue Moon.
Your work is brilliant. That's not the problem.
No, I'm not drinking with you, Larry. They should put my picture on that bottle. The whiskey that made Loren's heart unemployable.
And my number 8 slot is Blue Moon. This was another delightful film which I first saw at the London Film Festival but got released in the UK this month, i.e. December 2025. Blue Moon covers the last few days in the life of the famous US lyricist Loren's Hart and is actually set on the night of the premiere of Oklahoma, which of course was written by Rodgers and Hammerstein. It's a stunning transformational performance by a possibly Oscar-worthy Ethan Hawke as Loren's Hart, and has some terrific supporting performances from the wonderful Andrew Scott as Richard Rodgers and Margaret Qualley playing a indecently young muse to Loren's Hart. With such a clever, politically incorrect at times script, I absolutely loved this slice of 1943 life.
Oh, he's back. That's the 4th fucking time he's done that.
Is he peeking or probing?
Peeking with serious intent to probe.
Alpha 2, we might have guys starting to move in our position.
Copy, we're getting a buildup of activity here too.
Yeah, I definitely see weapons at this point.
Yeah, we have definite massing.
And my number 7 slot is Warfare. This is written and directed by Alex Garland together with Ray Mendoza, who is actually one of the soldiers featured in this real life story from the Iraq War. Warfare is an extraordinarily visceral cinema experience that hits you in the guts as well as showing you some as well. Part of this is down to the incredible sound design, which really does resonate through your body as you're watching it in the cinema. My one question would be, is this actually going to translate to home viewing on a smaller screen with a sub-cinema standard sound system? But all I can say is it was a memorable cinema experience from this year, and it deserves my number 7 spot on this list.
Johnny D. It's called Tourette syndrome. I say things that I shouldn't.
What can you do?
Do you want to come in for something to eat, John? Oh, fuck off, you wanker.
Well, it's nice to meet you too.
Sorry.
If you do anything here that you can't help, you never apologise.
Tommy, this is John. He's come to have a chat about the vacant position.
Right, I'll give you a rundown of the place.
Give me a cock in my hand.
Sakes.
At my number 6 is I Swear. I'm sure this one will be high on many UK viewers' best of the year lists. I really haven't met many people who've seen this film who didn't absolutely love it. It's a real crowd pleaser, and it shows the true life struggles of a Scottish guy called John Davidson, played brilliantly in the film by Scott Ellis Watson as the younger version of Robert and Robert Aramayo as the older Robert. He suffers from Tourette's syndrome, which suddenly comes on during his school days. The film has extreme highs and extreme lows, but few other films this year, I think, will have so positively affected the general public's perception and compassion for mental illness in the UK. I can see this one doing very well at the upcoming BAFTAs.
I don't know what more you want me to remember.
What are you gonna do? He's now or never.
Hello. And my number 5 is Nickel Boys. I actually saw this at the London Film Festival in October of 2024, but it didn't get released until the first week of January 25 in the UK, and then it was only a limited release. I would urge you to seek out this film. Nickel Boys really stuck with me since that first viewing. It's a brilliantly conceived first eye view of a wronged young black man, Elwood, played in wonderful style by Ethan Harris, sent to a terrifyingly racist institution called the Nickel Institution in the Deep South. It's based on a true story, which makes it 10 times more distressing, but it is a brilliant film. Seek it out.
Hey, Benji, I just got to the airport. I really hope you left already. Oh, God, you made it.
What's up, cuz? I got some good shit from when we land.
Wait, you're not, like, taking weed into Poland, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Benji?
They don't give a shit about that stuff, man.
I think they very much do give a shit about that.
Oh, yeah.
We get high in backseats of
Davers and I are cousins. We used to be joined at the hip. Our grandma is from here, so Dave arranged for us to join this geriatric Polish tour with you fine people.
And number 4 is A Real Pain. This was another film that came from early in the year. It got released in January, but it's making my list. A Real Pain is a joy of a comedy drama, perfectly mixing broad comedy with pathos. It's these two completely different cousins, played by Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg, going on a group tour to Poland to honour their beloved, recently deceased grandmother, who originally came from there. It really takes something special for a movie to include a visit to a real-life concentration camp and still keep things in perfect taste. Thankfully, this one has not yet been remade by the Farrelly brothers.
The world, Chuck. Everything you've ever loved. Everything you see. Every year that you live, that world will get bigger and brighter.
Into my top 3, and at number 3 I have The Life of Chuck. Now, Peter de Bruges of Variety magazine recently voted The Life of Chuck as his worst film of 2025. How mad is that? But goes to show how subjective cinema can be. I found it to be an absolutely adorable fantasy drama about how we all contain multitudes, taken to a very literal extent. It contains a masterly drum-based dance section that the illustrious Mrs. Mann got bored with, but I absolutely loved, and an instalment covering the early life of Chuck that had a really spooky 2001 A Space Odyssey vibe about it. But it was the first chapter of the film, which is actually the last chapter of the story, you'll understand if you watch it, that I particularly loved. A scene with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan in deck chairs watching the stars gave me genuine goosebumps. This is based on a short story by Stephen King, and I thought this was a tour de force for the director Mike Flanagan.
All we've lost, all that's been done to us, we're setting that right again. Greetings. Welcome to the headquarters of the human resistance.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed to prevent you from contacting your ship.
What ship?
Your mothership?
Okay.
And at number 2, I've got Bugonia, another film which has completely divided people, but I loved it. Yorgos Lanthimos is a director who I often find goes too far over the top in terms of surrealism in his films. Bugonia, which again I first saw at London Film Festival, for me was Lanthimos at his most accessible. Yes, there are some surreal moments, but the story itself is relatively linear and quite easy to follow before we get to a truly killer ending. The performances from Emma Stone and particularly from Jesse Plemons are absolutely fabulous, and I would love to see both of those actors nominated, and I'd even go as far as saying Jesse Plemons would be my name to win Best Actor at the Oscars coming up.
You made it okay?
Is there not like a harbour?
It's sort of nature's harbour. Welcome to Wallace Island. No!
Do you sell rice? My phone got wet.
We've got pasta.
Has to be rice, apparently.
Oh, you've got rice pudding, look.
Rice pudding definitely won't work.
Well, not with that attitude, no it won't.
The great Herb Maguire.
Coming all the way out there without your roadies. Which brings me up to the thorny issue of payment.
And so to my number 1 choice for 2025, The Ballad of Wallace Island. This is just a delightfully old-fashioned, character-driven comedy with fantastic performances from Tim Key, who plays Charles, the rich Maguire Mortimer Ubernerd, with Tim Basden as Herb Maguire and Carey Mulligan, delightful as Nell Mortimer. Tim Key, for me, gives one of the most underappreciated acting performances of the year. There's a scene in this film where Maguire and Mortimer get their guitar out and start playing songs around the dinner table, and the camera zooms in on Tim Key's face, and it's just one of my favourite movie scenes of the year. The movie had a very quiet opening in cinemas at the end of May, but word of mouth meant it stayed in cinemas for week after week, packing out the screens, and well deserved. I noticed, by the way, that it's currently on offer on Prime Video to watch for only £1.99. I don't know how long it will stay at that price, but that is an absolute bargain if you want to watch a great film over the new year. So that's my best of 2025. I'm sure you will disagree with many of them, be furious with me for leaving one battle after another out, and no doubt there's some other of your favourites which I have not included in my top 20. Have a happy new year, and thanks for continuing to follow and support One Man's Movies. Watch out also for my next video, which is going to be the worst films I've seen during 2025.